Okay, walking up to the front door here. Okay, we do not have an in-use cover. Kind of like a little bubble cover. Oh, you're upside down. I have to do some research. No GFCI. On the back porch, this receptacle by the back door, it has a weak ground. Our siding is pulling away from the brickwork on both sides of the front entry. Storm doors are beyond the scope of this inspection. Okay, bushes should be cut back away from the house. So this is a brick home. This is a brick home. It's a wood house, wood frame house with a brick facade. Brick is a very good building material. This home could burn down and you could reuse the bricks. And it's a great insulator. One characteristic about brick is that it's porous. And we expect it to leak, so should have building paper behind the brickwork, so any moisture gets in the house. This is the way the houses were designed. Kind of like the attic was designed to ventilate one way, and we've modified the ventilation, and now we've got, a negative effect. What happens with the brick is we have these weep holes, and those are by design. And most of the time, the only thing that's going to come out of there is vapor. You won't see it. If you have an event, I've seen an event, I hope you don't, but if you have an event, water will come out of those. But any water, any moisture gets behind the wall. That's what the weep holes are there for. That's their design. Our electric fixtures, luminaires, okay, on the brickwork, they should have been sealed around their bases so that water, you think water can get in there? You think water can jump up in there? I do. Okay. This is the front. The home faces south. So we're heading east. These bushes have been cut back away from the structure. These little box bushes, they've really done everything they're supposed to do. But they should be cut back away from the structure, because what happens is remember, the brick is porous and allows moisture inside of it, and it's allowed to evaporate. When you have these bushes that are this close to the house, well, it holds the moisture into and next to the house. Holds the moisture into and next to the house. We got a little crack right here and that's on a parge coat. Okay, so that our walls do not dry up as fast as they normally would. That's conducive to wood destroying insects. It's conducive to termites. They love the shade because they're blind. They don't want anybody seeing them. They have to be temperature controlled. So we've got this little temperature controlled hubble here. The tunnels just can come right up into the house without being seen. Carpenter ants can use these things as a little bridge to just walk on across and come up, and then come up into your house and cause their damage too. This is a little crack in the parge coat. This foundation has a parge coat around it. It's like a cake frosting. Just because the cake frosting is cracked doesn't mean your cake is cracked. Just because the parge coat is cracked doesn't mean your foundation is cracked. And just because your parge coat is not cracked does not mean that your foundation is not cracked. Okay? So moving on along, we got some separation in our windows right here. This window right there got a little bit of separation. Coming along, weep holes. Our screens, it's about time. And our windows, aluminum pane, single frame. They no longer meet energy requirements. Okay, it's kind of hard for me to look inside of here, but I can pretty much use my forensic imagination. Single pane aluminum frame no longer meets. So if you pull it, for example, I've got these windows in my house, and they're drafty and they're cold, and I get it, and that's the way it happened because my house was built almost the same year as this house was built. So there's, that's what we used. Okay, but if you had a building permit for the kitchen, for example, the kitchen window would have to be updated, and the insulation in the attic would have to be updated. If you pulled a building permit for the whole house, if you took it down to the studs, wanted to do something like that, all the windows would be required to be replaced. But until then, while they're sitting here, they're fine. Nobody can make you change your windows. You might want to. The return on investment would be rather quick. Not that windows are cheap, though. So when I say rather quick, I didn't say real quick or instantaneous. It'd take you some years, but eventually you would have saved enough money on your energy that it absorbed the cost of the windows. That's your long-term game plan. That should be sealed on 3 sides. We have a whole video about this. Coming along here, not much in the way of cracks in the brick and mortar. That's good. Rain gutter should not divert water next to the house. This little crack right here, it's called a shrinkage crack. Some people call them corner pops. Okay, well, whatever. Call it what you want. Okay, the brick and the concrete expand and contract at different rates. And the pressure comes out at the corner. And these cracks like that have nothing to do with the foundation. If it's big enough, it might be holding a brick up or two. It might be doing that. You might want to seal it. It's also conducive to wood destroying insects because a termite can crawl up in that crack, go into your house. Nobody knows a thing about it. Nobody knows a thing about it. So we're coming on along. Got a rose bush outside of the bedroom window. That could be considered security, keeping people from entering. But it's also a hindrance if there's an emergency and you need to leave through the window because you have a fire in the hall or something. You got to crawl through a rose bush. So that's something you might want to take into consideration. Moving on along, aluminum frame. Storm doors are beyond the scope of this inspection. However, this one's it's torn up pretty good. And then when you have a window this size and a door, well, that window, that should be tempered safety glass. It wasn't required at the time. Coming across here, we got our sliding glass door. We're missing our screen. Again, during the day, it wasn't required to be tempered safety glass. So this door is not tempered safety glass. This is a lawn sprinkler head. They're not supposed to be closer to the structure than 5 inches. Over here, we've got these 3 holes. See those holes? There's only one reason for those holes. Okay? That's for termite treatment. The Texas Structural Pest Control Board has determined that if you see holes like that, you know without a doubt there's no other reason for those holes than to drill in there and apply product, which is the code name for poison. Okay? So that and the only poison that is applied in this manner would be a termiticide for termites. So we know without a doubt this house has been treated at least one time for subterranean termites. We do not know who treated it. We do not know when it was treated, and we do not know what it was treated with. But we do know that it has experienced, and we'd also know from a previous video that it has experienced termite treatment. Now the siding here, this is siding that doesn't match, okay, because we built in this little patio. This is a porch. This is a porch. It's not the same as the rest of the house. Won't measure the same as the rest of the house. This is a porch, okay? If you see this siding that it doesn't match, okay, we knew that this was added in. This was all enclosed in. Moving on along, this is the east side of the house. We're going to talk about the electric meter not being sealed, power below grade. We're going to talk about, but we're talking about the siding. See these butt seams? They're not supposed to be lined up like that. See these butt seams? They're not supposed to be lined up like that. Those butt seams they're supposed to be staggered like this. So it's staggered like this, and the ends of the butt seams should have been, and I can't tell. Maybe I could tell. The ends, okay, should have been primed. They should have been primed. I see all these nails. The manufacturer's okay with that. The manufacturer's okay with that. But our butt ends are improperly lined. That's a runner. You think water's going to run down that? I think water's going to run right down that. I think water's going to run right down that real fine. Okay? And then behind these, and I can see from here, behind these butt ends, there should have been flashing tape installed behind them. So when the water goes through the crack, that's been protected because the ends have been primed, been sealed. As the water gets behind there, then it runs on down out, kind of like the weep hole operation. Something like that. Okay, 3 sides should be sealed. Moving on along, more siding. Rain gutter, dirt, verts. They put a foundation pier in here. I guess we had some foundation repair every once in a while, huh? Well, how about that? Okay, well, you got these little spare piers, and they just put that pier down there so the water will splash off of it. See how the color is different? It's because the water's been splashing on that, splashing back on that. There's minerals on that, so that sits there and it starts changing color on you. It's changing color on you. I want to back up here for just a moment. This little piping right here that's broken. Okay, this is the control wire for the lawn sprinkler system. And being the control wire for the lawn sprinkler system, that's supposed to be sealed. Water can get in here and it'll start affecting, you know, the low voltage wires, and you're going to have to pull all the wires out, replace all the wires, get your lawn sprinkler system running like it's supposed to. And that's probably the best case scenario. Okay, that cracked me up. See these right here? These are termite stations, termite baits. These are Centricon. Let me see if I can read this a little better. Termite control elimination system. Yes. Okay. These are either professional, but they're also available as a consumer grade. So I can use the drill holes on the patio to determine that the house has been treated by supposedly a licensed pest control applicator. When I see these over here, maybe it's been treated by a licensed pest control applicator, or maybe Joe went and got these things from Home Depot and stuck them in. Maybe that's what's happening. Okay. Now, these aren't such a bad system, really. I mean, they're approved by the Texas Structural Pest Control Board if and only if a certified applicator installs them. Okay, or a technician, a licensed technician, or a certified applicator. I'm a certified applicator, so I can talk about these things a little bit. But what happens is termites operate with pheromones. Okay, they're blind. They have pheromones for food, they have pheromones for danger, and they have pheromones for sex. Just like the back of the catalog where you got the cologne and you try to put that on. Okay, so they got these pheromones that get the termites excited one way or another. These are food pheromones. And so the termites that are in the ground, because there's termites in all the ground, they're beneficial. We need them to turn dead wood into fresh soil. Our house is made out of dead wood. We do not need the termites turning our house into fresh soil. Okay, so they come over here and they eat this stuff. They get their belly full and they go home to mama. They go home to the queen bee, the queen ant, the queen termite. They go home to her and they feed her, and she gets sick and she dies, and the colony collapses. So these things are pretty neat if they're maintained. One, if they're installed properly. I just see two here. And the resident here was telling me that he knew that there was termites on this wall inside the garage. Okay, I found some termites over by the garage pedestrian door. Not termites, signs of termite treatment. Okay. But after this food is gone, after it's been eaten, after the poison has done its job, you know what's left? All the pheromone trails that the ants use, the termites use, the pheromones to travel. They came over here, they were getting food signals. And they're coming over here and they're eating them, they're going home, they're getting sick. That colony died. This colony over here is trucking along. They pick up the food scent. They come over here and the cafe is empty. The cafe's closed. Oh, darn. Guess we gotta go home and see what's in the pantry. No. They come all this way to eat. There's nothing here to eat. Where are they gonna go? Oh. These need to be maintained or they're useless. Okay? Negative drainage all along this side of the garage. And then the rain gutter just comes down and just pours the rain back into the side of the house. We're missing our end caps. Okay, our two bottom end caps right there on our corner. Let's keep going. We're goers. Bear with me. This is probably the longest video. There's going to be leaves in the garage. You know how I know? Because that gasket doesn't go down there. Now I wanted to see this at first, before I operated it, because I could tell that this top panel, see how this top panel is buckled right there? Okay, so it's been pulled in a little bit. Alright, bushes next to the house again. See the door casement? Alright, it comes down, it's in direct contact with the concrete. What is wood? It's cellulose. And the concrete, it's porous. And the concrete holds the water, and then the wood starts sucking it. and it sucks the water up into it, causing it to rot. Causing it to rot like that. It's been sucking the water up. There's supposed to be like a 2-inch gap right there. So that should have been cut back to keep this from happening. Okay, this bush is too close to the house, like I said, too close to the house. Moving on along. Oh, look at our soffits. Think we're getting some good ventilation? No, look at all this cracking. Look at all this cracking. Why? We got a ridge vent over there. Huh. Check that out. It's kind of like, it's like connecting the dots. Okay, negative drainage. So we got negative drainage along the house faces south, the west side of the house. We got negative drainage along the north side of the garage. We got all these box bushes too close to the house. Now in theory, when wind comes in and hits this, it breaks the shear force, and it can actually help you reduce your utility bills. It's good to have foliage next to the house. But all these little kittens, all these kittens are growing up to be nasty old tomcats. And now they're growing into the house. If you're going to let them get this big, they should have been placed out here. You need about 12 inches behind the bush, between the bush and the wall, so that air can get in there, so that the wall can dry out, so that it discourages termites from showing up. That's what you're supposed to do with that. Okay, moving on up. Here we go. We got a nice two weakest points of a foundation. Slab foundation is an outside corner. This is an outside corner. That's an inside corner. Outside corners, okay, and fireplaces. So this is like the weakest part of your foundation. We got some high soil right here by the chimney. This is like one of the weakest parts of the foundation, and so the breaking is coming. We got vertical cracks through the brick and mortar right here. Okay, that's about the only cracking I've seen. I have not been around this corner, but I've seen a remarkably low amount of external foundation movement. It's been evident. Okay, now if we were building this home today, and this home was built in the 1960s, you see this point here and you see that point there? It's a lot of frickin' brick. That's a lot of brick right there. We would have a control joint. Some people call them expansion joints. You call it what you want. We know this is going to move. We know that we're in Texas. We know we're on expansive clay soil. This structure made its own control joint right there. On the weakest point. Fireplaces are one of the weakest points of a slab foundation, and outside corners. Remember that. So we got a weak part of your foundation. We don't have any control joints. And so that crack manifested itself. Bushes are too close. Bushes are too close. And all this debris needs to come out. All this debris needs to come out. A little bit of movement in the windows again. And we're right back where we started.